So one of the biggest problems that I see when people start trying to take and turn their AI generated clips into an actual film or story is getting those clips to feel like they actually belong together. So you might create one clip that looks great, but then you generate the next one and the character changes, the clothes change, the location shifts, or the action does not pick up where the clip left off. So instead of watching one continuous scene, it feels like a collection of separate clips. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 simple ways to help your AI generations work together more seamlessly so your clips can start feeling less like random videos and more like scenes from an actual real film or story. And I'm also going to pause along the way and show you how I'm using the Higgsfield MCP inside of Codex to make this whole process a lot easier. So when people talk about continuity, all they really mean is that the important details carry over from one shot to the next. If the character is wearing a blue shirt in the first clip, they should still be wearing that blue shirt in the next clip. And if they're reaching for a door, the next clip should remember which hand they used, or where they were standing, and what is supposed to be on the other side of the door. And the second clip, it really just needs to remember what the first clip already told us. And that right there is continuity. So the first way to do this is to give the AI video tool your previous video. So if the video platform or model that you're using allows video preferences, then you can attach clip 1 when you create clip 2. And with this, you're basically saying, study this clip, remember these people, these clothes, the room, the lighting, all these kind of things, and then show me what happens next based on my script. And here's a very simple version of the prompt that you can use for this. So continue the story from this attached video. You keep the characters, the clothes, the apartment, lighting, colors, body positions, and action. Do not remake the attached clip. Start with what happens next. So the word continue in this, it tells the AI to move the story forward, and not to remake the clip tells it that the old video is only used as reference. It's saying that I want the next moment, not another version of the same action. So this method can work really well because the AI gets to see the whole clip. It sees how the person moves, what the room looks like, where everybody is standing, and what's happening when the clip ended. But here's the thing. The previous video does not always give the AI every detail strongly enough. So it may remember the apartment, but forget the exact shirt, or if something's off a frame, it's not going to know what to use right there if it never showed up in that last video. It may remember the character, but make up a different doorway. It may keep the general feeling of the scene, but change one small thing that matters. So even when I use the previous video, I still check all my important reference images and my elements before I generate. So the second method is something called frame chaining. And it sounds technical, but it's really simple. You take the last image from clip 1 and use that as the first image for clip number 2. It's like handing the next clip a starting point and saying, begin right here. So the best option when you're picking a starting frame from your previous clip is to export the actual frame from whatever editor you're using, whether it's Premiere, Final Cut, DaVinci, Resolve, CapCut, whatever editor you're using. Because what happens is a regular screenshot, it loses some of the quality. And then feeding that to the video generator to make it larger forces the model to guess at the missing details. So if a screenshot is all you have, it's okay. You can just go ahead and upscale it and use it. But an exported frame is much better. So frame chaining, it solves one problem, but it can create another one. At the end of an AI clip, the movement often slows down. The character may almost freeze for a second. And then the next clip begins from that still image and has to start moving again. So when you join these clips together, you may see a tiny pause or a jump. The pictures may match, but the movement will feel strange. And this is where a simple filmmaking trick can save the scene. What you do is you cut away to something else for just a moment. You show a hand grabbing keys, or you show a clock or a close-up of the doorknob, show a reaction, or you can show an object that already belongs in the room. And then you can come back to the character after the rough part of the join. Editors call these extra shots coverage, and for one, they help hide the cut, but they usually actually make the scene much more interesting. And also, you don't have to make that next clip start from the exact same camera angle. Sometimes I use a frame from near the end of the first clip, but I tell the AI to begin from a new angle. So it uses that first frame, but immediately jumps to a different angle or perspective of that same shot. I might say something like, use this image to keep the same character, clothes, lighting, positioning, and everything of the room, and start immediately from a different camera angle. Do not copy this exact shot. So now I can go from a wide shot to a close up, or I can cut from the character to their hand. I can move from inside the apartment to the other side of the doorway, something like that. And the audience expects the picture to change because I changed the angle on purpose. So that's often easier than trying to make two nearly identical shots match perfectly. And the third method is to use the saved references or elements for the important parts of your scene. And like I said, in Higgsfield, these saved references are called elements. So an element can be your character or a specific outfit or a room, the outside of a building, or an important object. Typically, what I do is anything that shows up in more than one clip, one generation, one episode, one scene, I create an element so it doesn't drift. And think of these as using visual bound reminders so that it doesn't have to guess what something looks like. So instead of only writing, put my character in the apartment, I can attach the actual version of that character, the exact clothes, and the correct apartment. And that gives AI less room to guess. So before I generate, I typically ask myself a few different questions. So do I have the right character? Do I have the correct outfit? Am I using the correct version of the location? Is there an important prop that I may or may not be missing? And does this new action make sense after the last clip? And then one other thing that I do is I also make sure that my references do not disagree with each other. So if one image shows a blue shirt and the other image shows a red shirt, then the AI has to now choose and is most likely not going to choose the correct one. And this is why a lot of mistakes that look random are actually not that random. There is a missing reference or the reference gave it mixed instructions. Now, once you start building a lot of characters and outfits and locations and props, it can become really hard to remember where everything is. And this is where I can use an AI assistant and specifically an AI agent like ChatGPT, which was Codex, to help me research and to search my Higgsfield library and all of the elements that I'll be building. So, for example, I could ask, find the outside version of the Myrtle Beach apartment in my Higgsfield library and show me the correct reference for this scene. Or I can say, hey, here's my character that I just made up. Go ahead and create a pose sheet for me with a gray background, including a headshot, full body front shot, and a rear view of that character. And it'll just go ahead and generate those for me right within inside of Codex. And not only will it generate that for me, it'll create that as an element in my Higgsfield library, so I don't even have to do those steps. And that is huge and a big time saver. And it sincerely changed my whole workflow over these past few months by using these agents to do a lot of these things for me. And the connection that allows the agent to actually do this and connect to these tools is called an MCP. And specifically for this one, it's the Higgsfield MCP. So you don't need to even understand the technical details. Just think of it as a bridge between your AI agent and your asset library or your generation tools in Higgsfield. So one important thing to remember is that typing the name of a saved references is not the same thing as attaching it. So the real character, the real outfit, location, or prop, it still needs to be selected inside of the video tool. And with the Higgsfield MCP, your agent can do that for you. So if you want your AI clips to feel like real scenes, remember these three options. So you can give your model the previous video when you want it to remember the overall world and continue the action. Use the last frame when the exact starting position really matters. And you can also use elements or a combination of some of these other processes with the elements when there are details that AI cannot be allowed to make up. And then also use coverage. Give yourself a few extra shots, a hand, a clock, a doorway, a reaction, so you have something to cut to if the clips do not join perfectly. So the difference between random AI clips and an actual scene is not one magic tool. It's making sure that every new clip remembers the decisions that you already made. Now, this video is just a quick overview of how this works. I go into much more detail in this lesson, along with tons of other AI filmmaking lessons inside the courses inside of my Skool community. So if you want to dive deeper into things like this, check out the links in my description. You'll find guides and resources and the courses that are available inside of my Skool community. And if you found any value in this video, please make sure to like and subscribe and do all the things that help this channel grow. And if there's something specific that you're having trouble with, or if you found a different technique that works for you, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I would love to hear what is working, what's not working, and what you would like me to cover next. All right, we'll see you in the next one.